There is a type of silence more terrifying than loud arguments. It's when two people lie next to each other, but their souls are thousands of miles apart. When loving gestures are just programmed, mechanical movements. When they both know they're performing a play that no one wants to watch, but they keep acting, day after day, like soulless puppets. For over 20 years as a consultant, I've sat across from thousands of faces carrying this pain. They come to me with eyes filled with both despair and hope, like a drowning person looking for a final lifeline. And the story they tell, though different in details, shares a common pain. They are living in what I call duty sex, when physical intimacy no longer stems from desire but from fear. This fear has many faces. Fear of a partner's anger and days of silence. Fear of them seeking satisfaction elsewhere. Fear of the family they've worked so hard to build falling apart. Fear of being judged as a bad wife or an uncaring husband. Fear of not being normal like the happy couples on social media. And so they do it, like a task to be completed, like brushing their teeth before bed, necessary but without a hint of excitement, even uncomfortable and wanting it to end as quickly as possible. One autumn afternoon, I sat in my consultation room with a woman in her 40s. She huddled in her chair, clutching her handbag. Her voice trembled as she began her story. I don't know if I'm normal, but I hate it when my husband touches me. I still love him, but every time he initiates, my whole body stiffens. I lie there, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds for it all to end. And the worst part is I have to pretend to enjoy it so he doesn't get hurt. I feel like a doll, soulless, emotionless. She stopped, tears streaming down her cheeks. I could hear her heart beating, not with excitement, but with the fear of speaking the truth she had hidden for so long for the very first time. Her story is not unique. It's the voice of millions living in silent pain. They lie next to the person they once loved passionately, but who is now just a familiar stranger. They perform the most intimate acts but with the most distant souls. And the tragedy is that they both know this truth, but no one dares to speak it, for fear that once the facade shatters, there will be nothing left to hold onto. To truly understand the depth of this issue, we need to look at the warning signs, not just the surface manifestations but also the subtle vibrations in the souls of those experiencing it. The first and perhaps most obvious sign, counting the days. When sex becomes a checklist item, it has begun to die. When was the last time? 2 weeks ago. I guess it has to be tonight. This is not the thought of someone who desires, but of someone who is calculating an obligation. You never count the days for things you truly want to do. But this counting reflects a deeper, painful truth. Sex has become a psychological burden. Like a work deadline you keep postponing, the closer the must-do day gets, the more stressed you become. I had a male client who told me he even set reminders on his phone. Not to remember a romantic anniversary, but to remind himself, it's time. He gave a bitter laugh. I feel like a tax accountant. I have to file once a month, or I'll get fined. The second sign is even more painful, the feeling of relief when it's over. This isn't the satisfaction of someone who has just had a wonderful moment, but the relief of someone who has just paid a debt. Like a student who has submitted a homework assignment they didn't like, or an employee who has finished a meeting with a difficult boss. It's done, at least I won't have to think about it for a few weeks. This is the thought of someone who sees sex as a burden to bear, not a joy to be savored. This feeling of paying a debt erodes the soul slowly. Each time you pay, you accumulate a little more resentment. Then there's the art of avoidance, an art that many have mastered to a startling degree. The list of reasons is endlessly rich: a headache, a timeless classic, tired after a long day, the kids aren't sound asleep yet, the movie is at a good part, I have an important meeting tomorrow morning. But behind each seemingly harmless excuse is a silent cry for help. Please, not tonight. Give me one more day. Just one. A tragicomic detail that many people share: Sometimes the other person is also secretly relieved. They don't really want to either, they just feel like this is the responsibility of a good husband/wife. So they both perform a silent play. One pretends to be asleep, the other pretends to believe it. They both breathe a sigh of relief at their escape, but no one dares to admit it. The fourth sign reveals the brain death of the relationship. Everything happens like a pre-written script, rehearsed hundreds of times. Same time, same location, same position, same sequence of movements. Even the same duration, 10 to 15 minutes, no more, no less, like a scheduled TV program. This mechanical nature not only kills physical pleasure but also erases emotional connection. But perhaps the most heartbreaking sign, the one I observe in most couples in this situation, they avoid looking into each other's eyes. Eyes are the windows to the soul. In an intimate moment, looking into each other's eyes is how two souls truly connect, transcending the boundaries of the physical body. It's when all defensive walls crumble, all masks fall. In the eyes, you cannot pretend. And that's why, when sex becomes a duty, people avoid eye contact like the plague. Staring at the ceiling, counting the cracks. Shutting their eyes tight, pretending to be lost in passion. Or, simplest of all, turning off the lights, letting the darkness hide the unhideable truth. One woman told me, "I don't dare look into my husband's eyes during sex. I'm afraid he'll see the emptiness in mine." But maybe he's avoiding my eyes for the same reason. To understand this slow death more deeply, we need to go back in time, to the early days of the relationship. Because no one starts with duty sex. They all had brilliant beginnings. Remember, if the memory hasn't faded, the early days of love. When just holding hands was enough to make your heart race. When a look, a smile, a light touch could make your whole body tingle. Sex didn't need to be planned, it flared up naturally like fire meeting gasoline. During this phase, the brain is flooded with love chemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, and oxytocin. This is the stage scientists call limerence, an intense infatuation. Everything about the other person is perfect in your eyes. You can't get enough. Making love 3 or 4 times a night still feels insufficient. You wake up for work, but your mind is still on last night, eagerly anticipating the evening. But this phase cannot last forever. After about 6 months to 2 years, this biological high begins to fade. This is a law of nature, not a sign of fading love. At this point, the relationship needs to transition to a new stage, from passionate love to companionate love. From a blazing fire to a smoldering ember. But most people are never taught this. Movies, novels, social media all show them an image of a love that is forever passionate. So when the biological hormones decrease, when desire is no longer spontaneous, they panic. Have I fallen out of love? Instead of understanding this as a natural transition, they start to pretend. Pretend they still desire. Pretend they are still interested. And so the play begins. At first, it might just be a slight reluctance. I'm really tired, but oh well, it's been a while, I'll indulge you once. But when you do something you don't really want to do, there's no pleasure. Without pleasure, you feel empty, even uncomfortable. The next time you think about it, you feel even more fed up. And so, the vicious cycle begins to spin. The pressures of modern life and the arrival of children accelerate this process. Stressful jobs, chronic sleep deprivation. No more private time. The death of sex is not the cause but merely a symptom of a relationship that has died emotionally. When two people no longer share their deepest thoughts, when conversations only revolve around children, money, and household chores, how can you desire a person you don't even know who they are anymore? The price paid for maintaining duty sex is not just 15 minutes of discomfort each time. It leaves deep wounds in the soul, accumulating into serious lifelong trauma. First is a profound sense of self-betrayal. Every time you say yes when you really want to scream no, you are betraying yourself at the most fundamental level. This self-betrayal erodes self-esteem from the root. You start to hate yourself for your weakness. Next is the accumulation of resentment, a dangerous time bomb. At first, it might just be a fleeting annoyance. But when you have to sacrifice every time, resentment piles up like a mountain. It doesn't disappear, it just transforms into different forms: unprovoked anger, coldness in daily communication, avoidance of all forms of intimacy. Physically, the consequences are no less severe. The body has its own memory, it remembers every time it was forced and develops increasingly strong defense mechanisms. Many women develop vaginismus, involuntary vaginal spasms that make intercourse painful or even impossible. Chronic dryness is another common symptom. Many people develop severe psychological symptoms. Migraine headaches triggered by the thought of it. A reflexive feeling of nausea when touched. Panic attacks when hearing footsteps on the stairs at sensitive hours. A weakened immune system due to chronic stress. But perhaps the most devastating consequence is the loss of the ability to love and trust. When you have to pretend in the most intimate thing, how can you be genuine in other things? The line between real and fake blurs. You no longer know which feelings are real, which desires are your own. The heart becomes calloused, no longer capable of being moved. A 45-year-old woman, after 3 years of divorce, shared, "I met a wonderful man. He's gentle, patient. But every time he touches me, my body automatically tenses up." The old memories come flooding back. The silent and most severely affected victims are the children. Children have an extremely sensitive emotional radar. They don't need to witness bedroom scenes to know their parents have problems. They sense it through the energy in the house, through the way their parents avoid looking at each other, through the heavy silence after dinner. Growing up in an environment of fake love, children absorb false lessons about relationships. They learn that marriage is a burden to be carried. Love is something to be acted out. Happiness is an unreachable illusion. Intimacy is a scary thing to be avoided. A 27-year-old woman confessed, "I grew up never seeing my parents truly affectionate with each other. I don't know what real love looks like. Now that I have a boyfriend, I panic every time he wants to get close." And the more sensitive children take the responsibility onto themselves. Is it because of me that my parents aren't happy? If I were better, smarter, would my parents love each other more? They try their best to save the family. This psychological burden follows them into adulthood. The spiral tightens as both start living in a state of high alert. Each person develops their own radar to read the other's signals. A touch on the shoulder could be a sign that something is happening tonight. An unusually gentle voice signals he's trying to sweet-talk me to get what he wants. This underlying tension turns every evening into a psychological battlefield. So, is there a way out of this hell? The answer is yes, but it requires extraordinary courage. The first and most important step: stop immediately. Stop doing what you don't want to do. Stop tormenting yourself. Stop acting. I know this sounds simple, but in reality, it's extremely difficult. One of my clients, after 12 years of duty sex, told her husband directly, "Honey, I can't continue like this. I love you, but I can't have sex when I don't want to. It's killing me, killing us." The husband's initial reaction was shock and anger. But when the emotional storm subsided, he admitted, "I know. I could feel you didn't want to. But I didn't know what to do." That was the beginning of a long and difficult but necessary journey. They agreed to a complete ceasefire for 3 months. No one demanded anything from the other. This time was for a reset for the body and mind to recover from prolonged trauma. During the ceasefire, something magical happened. They started to talk. Not about household chores or the children, but about their real feelings. For the first time in years, they shared their fears, their pain, the resentments they had buried. "I didn't know you also felt pressured," the wife was surprised. "I also didn't know you were in so much pain," the husband confessed. From misunderstanding, they began to understand each other. The next step, learn non-sexual intimacy. After many years of all affectionate gestures leading to sex, the body learns to be on guard against all forms of close contact. They started with the smallest things. Holding hands while watching TV. Hugging for 20 seconds every morning before work, just a hug, no other intentions. Taking a bath together but just to relax and talk. In parallel with rebuilding intimacy, each person also needed to rediscover themselves, the independent self that had been lost in the marriage. Many people lose themselves to the point of no longer remembering who they are outside of their roles as wife/husband, mother/father. After 6 months of ceasefire and reconnecting, the unexpected happened: desire returned. Not a fake or forced desire, but a real, spontaneous one. One evening, we were cooking together, the wife recounted. "He stood behind me and hugged me while I was stir-frying vegetables. That's all, but I suddenly felt I wanted it. For the first time in so many years, I truly wanted him." Of course, not every story has a happy ending. Sometimes, the most courageous thing is to admit, it's over. There's nothing left to save. The clearest sign, one person wants to change, the other doesn't. A relationship requires two people to make an effort. I have a client who, after 18 years of enduring, decided to divorce. "I tried everything," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But to him, a wife is for service. I can't teach my daughter that this is how a man treats a woman." The decision was not easy, but she realized, she was staying not out of love but out of fear. And that wasn't the life she wanted. There are signs of a hopeless situation that need to be recognized: when there is coercion, threats, or violence. When one person is completely indifferent to the other's feelings. When the relationship is just a transaction. When they are together only out of fear, not out of love. But there are also stories of revival. Couples who overcome the crisis and find each other again, stronger than before. What makes the difference? Both truly want to save it. They are ready to face the painful truth and take responsibility for their part. They have extraordinary patience. After more than 20 years in this profession, I have witnessed every kind of story. Couples who went from hating each other to finding passionate love again. People who were clinically dead in their sex life becoming as passionate as they were in the beginning. But there are also those who choose to part ways to find their own happiness. There is no single formula for everyone. But one thing I am sure of: you deserve to love and be loved completely, genuinely, without acting. You deserve a relationship where sex is a joy, a connection, a language of love, not a heavy duty. If you are living in duty sex, know this: you are not alone. There is a way out. There is hope. But change starts with a decision to stop tormenting yourself. Life is too short to live in falsehood. Too precious to waste in pain. You have the right to say no. The right to demand respect. The right to seek true happiness. Whether the path ahead is to salvage or to let go, choose the path that leads to vitality, authenticity, and freedom. Because that's what you deserve. And that's the best lesson you can leave for your children: that real love exists, and it's worth pursuing. To find vitality, authenticity, and freedom in love together, please, like this article to send a signal to the universe that you are ready for a change. Share it with a friend you think needs to hear this story. Comment below with your thoughts, or just a heart so I know you're here. Subscribe to the Love and Psyche YouTube channel for more in-depth knowledge on psychology and love, to accompany you on your journey of healing and rebirth.